Dana Stevens Show. Let's go. Check it. Don't forget about love, joy, peace. Let's talk about it with Dana. That's what the world needs. Let's put away the hatred, racism, and greed, and tune into your dial with Dana Stevens. Yo. From Chi-Town to Florida to A-Town, DMP got sick of our people falling down. PD gotta stop the violence in all towns. This is what we call awareness, time to spread around. We got a legendary activist going viral, and me, I'm quarterback and spitting these flows like spirals, like Colin Kaepernick kneeling to God in every show, and late night appealing to God for us to grow. These demonic politicians have really got to go. That's how it started, right here on radio. Don't forget about love, joy, peace. Let's talk about it with Dana.
Well, happy Wednesday evening to all of you out there in social media world. This is, yes, Brother Dana coming to you from the windy city of Chicago. I don't know if you know this, but many people, including myself, believed that Chicago is called the Windy City because of the strong winds. And yes, we do have those that whip around, the buildings. But that is not why Chicago became known as the Windy City. And when I tell you the real reason, if you know anything about Chicago, you'll know that it's still to this day in most cases. But because the politicians of Chicago were considered to be people that were filled with lots of wind, lies, deceit, all of that type of stuff. And because of them, our politicians being filled with a lot of wind, this became known as the Windy City. But for some reason, it's transferred over that it's because of the physical winds. Not true. So anyways, shalom to all of you out there, and especially to my Hebrew brothers and sisters. This is one of my off-the-cuff videos, and the video today was really inspired by the news that Alabama has now voted that they are a total anti-abortion state. And now there's wind that of several other states, Republican states, are rising up and passing or going to pass these same bills for anti-abortion. And this is not whether I am talking about myself being pro-life or pro-choice, but I'm explaining to you here a couple of things. First of all, the hypocrisy that lies within the white evangelical community. And then something that I've been sharing about, which is, the law versus the Most High Yah's Son, Yeshua HaMashiach. And now, walking in his steps of love, grace, and mercy. And I know even amongst my Hebrew brothers and sisters, just like in the Gentile Christian church, there's a battle between we must follow the law, the Ten Commandments, even mixed in with the grace of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. But what I have always seen is that there is no man that is not biased, that one sin that needs to be dealt with will be treated differently than the other sin. And this is a prime example of why it's difficult for me to believe that the Most High Yah is calling his people, including me as one that desires to serve him, knowing who his chosen people are, back to the law with some of Yeshua HaMashiach or Jesus Christ mixed into it, because the law was given to bring death, and death is darkness, but yet Yeshua HaMashiach said that he came because of life and light. But yet the word always says that darkness and light can never mingle in harmony with one another. They were never meant to. That's why when Yeshua HaMashiach came in, darkness went out. So that is where I wrestle. And then I wrestle with this again, and this is, a call out to my Gentile, white, Caucasian, evangelical believers, that the hypocrisy of you that makes me vomit. But then also, just to inform everybody, the motives behind all of this. So if you look at white evangelical Christianity, the main two things that they stand on and they believe is that the God will punish America just like he did Sodom and Gomorrah, based off of basically homosexuality, but also abortion, because abortion, according to the law and of God's law, is murder, and you do not murder. So my evangelical, white conservative Christians who also follow Trump, they believe that we as white America and the church will be judged because our lack of standing up against homosexuality and abortion. So now let's look at this. What they don't tell you is how they piss and moan and groan and complain and hate families that are on welfare, that are sucking up their tax money to care for all these babies and kids, that the evangelical conservative loves God and Jesus are the ones that complain the most. And yet they will watch immigrant children or even their own children suffer based off the consequences of their parents and say, you know what? I'm sorry they were born to those parents, but I'm tired of giving that parent money. And in the long run, the children suffer. And we do that to our own, although we still believe that the majority of individuals on welfare are you, my black brothers and sisters, or who I know you as to be, the true Hebrews. So look at the hypocrisy that's in that. And that is why I believe that the church is not pro-life. They are only anti-abortion. Because once those babies are born and they already know they're unwanted for whatever reason, they moan and groan about having to pay for welfare for those kids to be raised, when mama should take care of them, but you already know she didn't want the baby. And so how do you say you're pro-life, but you're not there for their life? But see, the hypocrisy in this is this. Because they are now passing laws to outlaw abortion, it gives them this outward appearance of self-righteousness because they're following the law. But yet it's the mother that suffers, and where is the father? Just like the Pharisees when they brought the woman, but not the man, when they caught them in the act of adultery. So and then you look at my people, and they think because they're also passing these laws to outlaw homosexuality and to really be hateful and disgraceful to them because they are less than a heterosexual rapist. They are equivalent in the evangelical church as a child molester. But a heterosexual man that molests a child is still not quite to the derogatory depth of level of abomination. But at that same level, you're homosexual. And so they pass a law that the bakery doesn't have to bake a cake for a homosexual community. But yet, in their so-called righteousness that you should not commit adultery behind closed doors. And also, they believe that because they're standing on those two truths, they aren't even willing to acknowledge what we've done to you. Because the Spirit of the Most High Yah is not in them. The spirit of the law is, and according to the law, they are innocent, although their hearts and their attitudes are evil. And any way they can get around that law to destroy you, they will do it. And it reminds me of Matthew chapter 23, verse 26 to 28. Blind Pharisees, please clean the inside of the cup and dish, so that the outside may become clean as well. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and everything impurity. In the same way, on the outside you appear to be righteous, but on the inside you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. See, my people believe because they follow the law of God, in also passing these laws to make our country look righteous. And they believe it is righteous in the eyes of their God because they are abolishing these abominations of homosexuality and murder of abortion. But yet look at how they are when they treat you alike. Look at how they are when they treat migrants and immigrants. Look at how they are when the very baby they tell the mom you can't abort is born, and then they complain and let that baby suffer because they don't want nothing to do with it because their job is done. You're not pro-life, you're anti-abortion. But this is also a warning to America, and I understand why the Most High Yah is allowing these bills and all these laws to be passed. Because see, when his judgment falls on these self-righteous people, because in their following the law, they have become arrogant, they have become boastful, they have become to believe that, yeah, it's God, but it's me also doing my part. And because I do my part, I don't fully thank God, because if I do my part and I follow these laws and I follow these commands, then God owes me. And in that becomes arrogance. And that's why you see my people. And until it's broken, like it was broken in your ancestors, it's now going to be broken in my people. And I know when they get broken, only a few will rise up from those ashes and still, but yet I will serve ye the Most High Yah. My people have never dealt with that, including myself. But over these years, the Most High Yah has taken me through some depths of pain and sorrow and suffering. And I'm grateful because it's broken me. It has broken me to the point where I know that nothing in me that is even closely seen by God as righteousness is due only to Him. Because I can't do nothing without His ability or without Him giving me the strength to do it. And therefore I can't take credit on anything. And therefore I fully 100% have to fall at the feet of Yeshua HaMashiach and worship Him. Because I'm not capable of following that rigid law. And if I do, I haven't murdered. If you don't want to count sometimes my thoughts that go against somebody that's done me really horribly wrong. But it is Him and only Him that has done what's been done in my life, that I can say Yah truly gets the glory. And so in closing, it is onefold. It is definitely a word of wisdom to my Gentile conservative evangelical Christians that if you think passing these laws of anti-abortion and anti-homosexuality is going to save you from the wrath of the Most High Yah, I'm sorry, because we have a whole lot greater sin and sins, and that is what we have done to our Native American Indians, those that lived here prior to us, and what we have done to our African Americans or blacks, and what we continue to do to them, and all the other things that we do secretly. It's all going to be exposed, and so running to these places to look righteous and holy in the eyes of the world is going to come back and slap you in the face, because when judgment falls, you're going to then be mad and upset, because you're going to wonder, why would God judge you after you have begun to get this nation back into a Christian religious order? Because you missed the Spirit of the Most High Yah through his Son Yeshua HaMashiach. And your hearts have been evil, although on the outside you want to walk around with clean hands. And to my Hebrew brothers and sisters, to those that are walking in skin of black or brown, may you recognize that this is just one more step closer to the judgments of the Most High Yah in letting his people go. Because my people will do everything in their power to clean the outside, but refuse to let the power of the Holy Spirit through Yeshua HaMashiach and the Most High Yah penetrate them, to knock them on their knees of the filth that we have on our hands, to repent, and then be people that bring justice to those of you that we have treated so unjustly. Not because you do anything in our eyes that merit it, but simply because you deserve it for what has been done to you. And as I remember reading through the Gospels, I don't recall Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, ever delivering a Pharisee or a Sadducee. But I do recall him touching and healing people that were blind, that had issues of blood, that were lepers, that were Samaritans, that were short, that were mute, that were lame. And all of them were nowhere close to being considered educated, or even those that followed any type of law. But he reached out to them in love, and he delivered, and he saved them. And many of them, if not all of them, after that touch and that encounter with Yeshua HaMashiach, they dropped everything to follow him. So again, this is Brother Dana coming to you from the city of Chicago. And thank you again for walking this journey with me, as it is my desire to know what the Most High Yah is requiring of me, a Gentile, but one that has given his life over to Yah, and understand the truth of who the true chosen people are, their beauty, their purpose in leading all of us, and being a vessel, a nation of people that will, right alongside the Most High Yah Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, glorify the beauty of the Most High Yah. So, good night, and we will talk again soon.